Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, we ain't got time for that this morning. Hi. Happy well, it's not happy, but post-election day greetings. Welcome to Desperate House Witches. I'm Rena Star, so you don't have to be. Aren't you glad, especially this morning? Yeah, it went down last night, and it didn't go our way, but, sometimes the gods say no. Anyway, Desperate House Witches is not a GPG or even an R-rated show, so if bad language, bodily function, dirty talk of any kind is not your kind of thing, well, too bad you're here. Wow. Desperate House Witches is brought to you by the amazingly wicked one, the incredibly wicked one herself, the amazing Dorothy Morrison. Please check out DorothyMorrison.com for all of your Dorothy Morrison needs. Also check out Wicked Witch Mojo products at your local fine retail establishment. And if you need any, tell them you want Dorothy Morrison's Wicked Witch Mojo products. So, with me for the hour is the incredible, beautiful, one of my oldest friends, the incredible Deborah Blake. And we're going to talk about, not just last night, but we're going to talk about Llewellyn's Little Book of Spellcraft, which is a fucking incredible book. I love the Little Book series. This is like number 17. Deborah, I really love this book.
Thank you.
It gives you all of the information in like a purse-sized book that I can just take with me, which, to be honest with you, after last night, I need something that's a little easier for my brain. Can you explain the
easier
book
for the brain is definitely necessary right now.
I'm telling you, I'm a little fried after last night.
A little fried. I'm sorry. Did you say a little fried? I'm like, an egg in the Arizona desert.
It was a shit show. It was a shit show, kids. I'm just saying,
and it wasn't what we expected. I was so hopeful. I was so hopeful. But, sometimes, as you said, sometimes the gods say no. And, what I'm telling people is, yes, today, be depressed, be mad, be upset. Tomorrow, the fight continues. We stand up for the people we love, and, we stand up for the people who are vulnerable, which is all of us, but many of our friends. We just keep working towards the positive, because the truth is the haters only win if we stop fighting. If we stop loving, if we give into their negativity, then yes, they've won. Until then, as long as one of us is standing, they haven't won. They've just won this particular battle. It was a big one, and I will not pretend that I am having a good morning. I am not having a good morning. I am having a bad, sucky, all-around terrible morning. However, I am here to share some really cool spells and some really good information about spell crafting so that people can do some things that make them feel like they have some power.
Yeah, and it really gave me pause to reflect this morning because, my tongue's been wagging for like the last 3.5, 4 hours because I can't shut up.
I've been texting back and forth with, everybody I know and my family, and, it's a little cray-cray.
Oh, yeah. People are like, well, are you going to shut down the show? Or are you going to wait for them to come and shut you down? What are you going to do? Are you still going to talk about the election? Are you still going to do this? Are you still going to do that? And I'm like, and I've got friends who are honestly really scared, really terrified.
Oh, yeah. No, I have a friend who texted me this morning, and he's worried that he and his husband are going to get put in a concentration camp. I mean, literally, that is his concern. And I said, I don't think that's going to happen. I wish I could have said I can guarantee that's not going to happen, but I apparently have no idea what country I'm living in, so I don't know. But yeah, I just think we've got to stick together. We've got. So one of the things that I told myself this morning is Kamala's young enough; she can run again in 4 years. But the other thing is that really, when it comes down to it, we have two choices. We give up or we don't give up. And I think giving up's not really a choice. At least it isn't a choice for me. So we don't give up. Can you be terrified and still keep moving forward? Sure. Does it make it harder? Sure. But we have been through some ups and downs in this country. The world as a whole has been through some up and downs, and there have been some times that looked so bleak that it did not seem like there was any way through to the other side. And yet, here we are talking to each other, and, we'll just see. But the other thing is, we can't stop living our lives. People had to get up this morning and go to work, and some of them had to go to work with people who are going to be really gleeful, which I feel very, very bad for those people. Thank God I worked by myself at home. Although, this is also not a great morning to be by yourself. My cats are getting lots of random hugs. They're like, "What's wrong, Mama?" And I'm like, "You don't understand. You're a cat." But all we can do is continue to do our best. And that is one of the things for me that witchcraft is all about, is making the most out of your life, making the most out of your magic, out of what you do with yourself, and positive forward movement. And we're going to have to fight even harder than ever for positive forward movement in our own lives. But, that's the goal. That is still the goal. It was the goal yesterday. It is the goal today. And that is one of the reasons why we do magical work, is to try and create our own best lives and, the best life we can for the world and the planet. And we're just going to have to keep plugging away at it.
I totally
and maybe
agree.
Eat extra chocolate.
I think so, especially the chocolate part, because it's interesting. I do work a regular day job, as most of my listeners know, and I had asked for today off because I said one of two things: I was either going to need today to sleep from happiness or just being upset and exhausted, and I'm feeling neither and both at the same time. I'm like, okay. I felt the real horror and stress that I felt in 2016. I don't seem to feel right now. Maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's because I already went through this. I don't know. But
I'm feeling it for you, so I got you covered there. No worries.
All right. Well, normally I'm like the one that panics over every little thing, and I'm not having that attack of panic.
And normally I'm like ridiculously positive. I'm like bright side. The glass is half full. Well, I'll tell you what, tonight my glass is going to be half full. There is no question. It might be whole full, all full. But on the other hand, I do think that we have to try, after today's bump in the road, we have to try and stay positive, because they want us to be miserable. They want us to be sad and crying in a corner and give up. And if we give up, then it really is over. But we're not giving up. We're not giving up. We are coming back in a day or two, or however long it takes us. We are coming back. And we are just going to keep trying to fight for the rights of the people who deserve them, and be allies to all the folks who need allies. And be spooky, apparently.
Well, that was weird. I don't know how that happened. Okay.
Apparently, I am just that powerful.
Holy shit, girl! What'd you do?
I would like to say I have turned back the clock and changed reality, but sadly, I don't think that's true.
Now, that would have been, I don't know how you did that, but that was interesting. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Wow.
So let's talk about something cheerful, like, I don't know, books and oracle decks and crap.
Yes, please. Let's talk about this amazing book.
It's purple.
It is purple. It's beautiful.
It is such a cute little book. Like you, I love their, Llewellyn's little book of series. I have a whole bunch of them, including the one I put out last year, which was Llewellyn's little book of witchcraft, which is also cute, but it's not purple. And purple is great.
Not purple, but purple is great. Purple is so sweet, and it is such a great little book because it's one of those books. Again, you take it on the go, and you don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to get to the point of what you're trying to do, which is something I especially appreciate in times of stress.
Oh, yeah. Well, which really, if you look at it, the last, 8 years, been a time of stress. I mean, between one thing or another, we've had a lot of stress. So, one of the things that I try and do when I write a book, and I've written a bunch of them, and anybody who's familiar with my writing probably knows this, is that I try and keep it pretty simple because life is complicated and none of us have 4 extra brain cells to rub together, and yet we still want to learn things and do things. And so, I don't want to make people wade through complicated instructions. I just want people to be able to pick up my books and go, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. I want them to be able to read them in the bathroom when they have 5 minutes. It's very pragmatic. I'm a pragmatic witch. So, yes,
I love that.
One of the things that people say about my books, which I like the most, is that they're accessible. Because that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to make it so that anybody can pick these books up and go, okay, I really don't understand, what the heck is a spell? And they can look in here and in relatively simple language, not talking down to anybody, but, no fancy foo-fra, they can see, what are the basics of spellcraft? How do you cast a spell? How do you create your own spells? What tools do you use? And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of spells, because who doesn't need that? One of the things that I love about these little books is, there's a list of activities and a list of spells and a list of tips right up at the front. So, say you get up this morning and you're like, oh, dear God, I need a spell, you don't have to look through the whole book. You can go, oh, look, there's a peace and serenity spell on page 141. I'll take that one. Thank you very much. Oh, look, there's a courage spell on 167. I'll take that one. So, it's, they're designed to be easy to use. And I should also mention, because they are little books, they're little hardcovers. They are cute as hell, and they make great gifts. Just saying, since we are somehow rapidly approaching the Yule season, I don't know how we're in November now, but we're in November. It's still November, right? I don't know. It seems like I blink and everything changes. But, if you have witchy friends, or if you have a witchy gift list for yourself, that you want to give to, say, people close to you, these little books, mine and other people's, I might add. I mean, there's a little book of Yule that's really cute. There's all sorts of good stuff. And, I think they're one of those things that, people want to have a collection of these and just have them, all, lined up pretty.
They are. Oh, my God. They're so pretty when you line them up together. Oh, it's like a little rainbow. It's so adorable.
Well, and you can just sort of walk past it and pick one up and go, oh, I think I'll look at something in this one today.
Oh, yeah. And it's got so much good. This particular book has a lot of great information, as all of your books do. And in addition to the activities, it's also got the holidays, and it's got all of the correspondence.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's full moon spells, and then there's, there's crafty spells, because my group likes to do crafty things. We might like to make things like, charm bags and then put a spell in them and things like that. And, it's, then there's, individual spells for, love and friendship and joy, prosperity, healing, protection, divination, all the kinds of stuff you're going to need. And I also talk about, the whys and why nots of spells. When to cast a spell, when not to cast a spell, what I think the rules are, which of course I am not the end all be all of anything really, unless you're one of my cats and you're waiting for dinner, and then maybe. But I basically, I always say in my books, this is my opinion. When you get my book, you get my take on things. You don't have to agree with me. You can look at that and go, oh, well, she says not to do that. I'm going to do it anyway. I am not the boss of you. I'm not going to come to your house and scold you, But, this is for people who are starting out, this is a good place to start if you're not really sure. And, of course, if you're not just starting out, if you've been doing it for a long time, you may not need the bits on how to write a spell, although some people aren't really comfortable writing their own spells. They may have been practicing witchcraft for years, but aren't, still are not really sure how to go about writing their own spells, and they use, say, people like me, they read their books and use their spells, which is fine. But if you want to learn how to write your own spell, I try and make that pretty simple too. But for the more experienced, which there's still a whole lot of cool stuff in here, all the spells and neat things, because I try and make my books useful for everybody.
Yeah, and as somebody who's been around for a while, which I have, I just can't think. So sometimes I just need something that makes me feel comfortable, that doesn't make me feel challenged, although on a day like today, breathing is a little challenging.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that breathing thing. I didn't do too well with the eating thing either. But, well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. One of the reasons I write these books is so I have them for myself on the days where I, too, cannot think. I have a coven called Blue Moon Circle that we've practiced together for 20 years now. And a lot of times when I get ready to write a ritual for us, if it's a rough day or, if I'm really tired, I have, chronic long-term illness issues, and so there are lots of days when my brain doesn't work too well and, I'm too tired to think of stuff. I can actually go to my own books and go, oh, look, I wrote down this ritual for Samhain and this spell for courage, and, I can use those. I mean, they make a good reference book for me, too.
Yeah, and sometimes you just need to remind yourself of who the fuck you are.
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like, oh yeah, I wrote this. Yeah, it's good to know that you did that, right?
It is sort of funny. I actually just finished writing my latest book for Llewellyn, which will be out in probably a year and a half, depending on how long it takes them. It's sort of an odd thing to be a writer, because I really struggled with the book because my brain isn't working really well. Thank you very much, long COVID, bite me. And so, the book is the Everyday Witch's Book of Deities, which, I've written books with goddesses before, but I haven't done one that specifically, goes over a whole bunch of deities, both gods and goddesses. And I, it was such a fight to write this thing that by the time I finally reached the end of it, I was like, oh, now I have to go back to the beginning and do the final polish edits before I send it to my editor. And I started reading it, and I went, oh, that's actually pretty good. Oh, I said that. Oh, hey, that's really profound. Huh, okay. And I didn't remember that stuff coming out of my head. It's just, so hopefully when other people finally get to read it, including my editor, hopefully they'll all go, oh, yeah, this is pretty good. Because I was really completely convinced it sucked. And yet, when I went back and read it, it was, being a writer is a weird thing. And being a writer with a malfunctioning brain is really, really a weird thing because it's not fun. But yeah, almost all of us pretty much think that what we're doing is crap, and then sometimes we walk away from it for a little while, go back, pick it up again, and go, huh, okay, that's a good spell, huh.
Yep.
Who is this clever person?
Who is she? Oh my gosh. So, I do have to give you a lot of credit for keeping me sane. Because sometimes
I like that you think you're sane. That's adorable.
Isn't that cute? I
like to use the term sane adjacent. I'm sane adjacent.
Yeah, well, listen, we've been through this kind of craziness before. I know everyone thinks it's exponentially worse now, and it might fucking be. And maybe I'm delusional. But the fact of the matter is, we still have to put our pants on, we still have to make something to eat, we still have to make a living, and we still have to do all the fucking shit we did yesterday.
Still have to clean the litter boxes and take out the garbage and do all of the daily stuff. My plan actually, because I'm a little weird, my way of dealing with this is when we're done talking, I'm going to clean my house. I'm just going to be like, okay, my brain is not working very well today, but I want to feel like I've accomplished something. So I tend to do fall cleaning instead of spring cleaning because I know I'm in upstate New York. I'm going to be locked in my house all winter long. And so I try and neaten it up and get rid of some things, and and I also once a year I do some protection magic for my house and my property, which right now I feel like I really need it, and I actually have all the herbs and things put together and ready to go, and it's, for the moment at least, reasonably nice outside, although it's supposed to rain later. But it's warm for this time of year. And so I'm going to go do some protection magic, and, I'm going to work on, I have one of those little inside arrow garden things. I'm going to work on planting some seeds, and as I plant them, I'm going to try and visualize the seeds of something good growing out of caca. And, we'll see if I can at least be physically productive, even if I can't be mentally productive. Thank goodness I finished the new book and sent it off yesterday because it's due on the 18th, and if I were having to write it today, I don't know.
That would have been a non-starter.
I did actually earmark a couple of spells in Llewellyn's little book of Spellcraft that I thought people might find helpful today.
Okay, good.
So I thought maybe I would share them with your listeners, and they can get a sneak peek into Llewellyn's little book of Spellcraft, and they also maybe can get a takeaway that will help them. And I may post one or the other of these online today, to share with people so they can maybe find it there, or of course they can run out and buy the book if they desperately need to have the spell right away. So I've got a spell for strength from within and without. And
Nice.
what it says in the book is, this spell works both by asking the universe to send you extra strength and by helping you tap into your own inner core of power you might not even realize is there. You can charge a crystal or a stone to carry around with you, or a favorite necklace to wear as a reminder, or simply hold your hands over your core near your belly button and channel the energy inside so you can draw on it during moments of need. And here's the spell. Goddess, give me strength to do the things I need to do, to be there for myself and others, to stand strong in the face of adversity, and to find the allies I need when I need them. Goddess, send me energy, willpower, and courage. Remind me to believe in myself as you believe in me. Goddess, send me strength. So mote it be.
Oh, beautiful.
I kind of got chills.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought that was perfect for today.
Mhm.
And the other one that I've got is a spell for courage, which can't. Yeah. And so what this one says is, this spell is simple, so you can whisper it under your breath later if you need to. Just place the stone you're using, just, again, a small piece of something like carnelian that you can carry with you if you need it. Place that in front of a white or an orange candle. Light the candle and focus on the energy for courage being absorbed by both the stone and your heart. God and Goddess, lend me courage. Keep me strong despite my fears. Courage today, courage tomorrow, courage to last through all the years. I am not afraid. So mote it be.
Love it. Love it. Yes.
Yeah. No, we need them both. There's no question. But, you know, this is, for me, sort of an example of why it's nice to have a book like this that has a variety of little spells in it, all of them pretty simple and can be done more or less on the fly, because you never know what spell you're going to need. You never know what you're going to wake up to in the morning. And this way, rather than trying to come up with something on your own, you can just go, I'll bet Deb wrote something that will work for this. Where's my little book of Spellcraft?
Yeah, and like I said, it's small enough that you can actually take it with you, which is wonderful, especially because I carry a rather large bag on some occasions, but when I'm going to work, I can just stick this in the same thing as I put the computer. Just and it goes. And, sometimes I sneaky peeky and need a little something, and it's right there. And, again, I've been doing this a long time, and like a morning like today where my brain is saying, you can't eat, you're lucky you could put your own pants on.
Oh, yeah, I actually had a little trouble with that. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're on straight. I don't know.
Oh my gosh! Listen. I know it's a shock to the system. I know we didn't expect this. I don't think Trump expected it, to be honest with you. When I listened to him speak yesterday morning, he seemed kind of resigned to, maybe no. I don't know.
He was telling somebody he was going to move to Nicaragua because there was such a charming guy in charge there. Yeah, I still really do not understand how this happened and why it happened. I mean, that's, I think, one of the difficulties that we're having with it is it's so incomprehensible. I didn't think it was guaranteed that things would go for us, but I really believed that it would, and I really thought it would be a lot closer. And I just don't, I don't want to be like paranoid, but I have to, wonder if there were some shenanigans somewhere. But, I also think, unfortunately, when people are unhappy, they're willing to believe almost anybody who tells them they can make things better, even though the things they're being told are lies. So, I don't know. I don't want to talk about the stupid election anymore. I just want to talk about happy things. We could talk about we could talk about my Everyday Witches Familiars Oracle deck, which is really pretty and glorious and happy and nice, and has all sorts of animals in it.
Let's talk about the deck.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. It is glorious. It is very pretty. And
it's
it is
so
very
pretty.
useful.
It's got a kitty on the front.
It does.
Well,
and
I mean,
like
it's got art by Elizabeth Alba, so it's guaranteed to be gorgeous. I mean, we did the Everyday Witches Tarot and the Everyday Witches Oracle together, and she is just such a fabulous illustrator. I mean, just an amazing, amazing artist, and a real pleasure to work with. I mean, this is the third deck we worked on together, and we are in the middle of working on deck number 4. We are working. I wish this one were out now because it's the one we all need. This is the one we're working on right now. Is the Whimsy Woods Tarot, and it's got all these cute animals with like clothes on and stuff, and they're like living in a little village. And I'm like, damn it, we need this one now. We need whimsy.
Oh my God!
But in the meanwhile, yes, you've got the Everyday Witches Familiars Oracle, which does not just have cats. People are like, does it just have cats? And no, it's got cats and dogs and birds and herons and snakes and monkeys and also because we did earth, air, fire, and water, and we also included 4 cards for spirit. So we have dragon and phoenix and sphinx and unicorn. And, of course, there's a little book written by me that, talks about, how to use the deck, but also has suggestions for, like divination if you pull a card or just a plain message. Like I just opened the book to the dog page. That's one of the earth cards. And the message is, don't forget to play, rest, and eat with gusto. Be in the moment whether you are spending time with others or relaxing by yourself. You get to choose if you are wild or tame, but remember there are benefits that come from connecting yourself to those who are willing to return your loyalty and friendship. So, yeah, apparently we all need dog energy today, whether we have dogs or cats or anything else.
Absolutely. I don't have any furry loved ones with me, but I'm cuddling my black Phillips for all it's worth.
Yeah, well, I've got the 5 cats, but, of course, for a while Diana was here snuggling up with me, and right now I've got, one up on a cat tree, asleep, and the other 4, I don't know where they are. They're not being helpful. They're like, Mama's too stressed. We can't handle this negative energy, dude.
But it'll dissipate. I think everything will shake itself out as it does.
Yep. And in the meanwhile, we get to have fun with witchy books and witchy decks. And I actually seriously considered, and I have not made up my mind yet, but I might do it. I have this whim to go to my Etsy shop because I have like lots of signed books and then magical kits and all sorts of other stuff, and I feel like I should just do a humongous like cheer everybody up sale. It's like if you need to buy yourself a present, here's the secret code for all of the people who are depressed as shit today. Here, go get a deck for 20% off signed by me or something.
Ooh,
do you think I should do it?
I think that might cheer the people up.
it might cheer the people up. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, right, today I don't really care about money. I just want everybody to be a little bit happier. Yeah.
Me too. Oh, me too.
Yeah, and you know, there's not a whole lot that I can do to make people happy, but if I can give them a signed copy of Llewellyn's little book of spellcraft for a sale, you know, why the heck not?
Oh my goodness, that might cheer people up, and it gives them something to look forward to in the mail.
Oh God, I love getting presents in the mail, even if the presents are from myself. Every time I order my fancy pants chocolates from Boston, I'm like, oh look, somebody sent me a present. It was me.
I know.
I have incredibly good taste.
I know. You know, I tell you, I ordered myself marshmallows from Australia, and it took 3 weeks for them to arrive. And when they finally arrived, I had forgotten I had ordered them. And I was like, who loves me enough to send me stuff from Australia?
all the time. I'm glad it's not just me. I get packages from Amazon, and I'm like, what the heck did I order? Oh, okay.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important, and I'm sure you will agree, that on days like today, it's not just important to remember that we are still who we are, and it's okay to have a day of sad, and it's okay to wallow in it for 24 hours, but it's also a good time to remember a little self-care and to do something nice for yourself, like going to Deborah's Etsy shop and getting yourself a little present.
And I honestly think self-care is so important right now. And doing nice things for yourself, you know, and random nice things for other people. One of the ways I cope with being depressed, and I fight with depression, you know, it's a thing. But on my really bad days, I like to do random acts of kindness. I like to just do nice stuff for people for no particular reason, and it makes me feel better. If I can't make myself feel better, I like to make somebody else feel better, and then it just sort of, you know, carries along. And then maybe they go out and do something randomly nice for somebody else.
I agree. Sometimes you make yourself feel better by making somebody else feel better.
Oh yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things, you know, when I'm scrolling through Instagram, as one does, you know, there's you know, this one guy who you know, randomly finds people and gives them money or helps them get housing or, you know, whatever, and people chip in, you know, it's just, and it's all completely random, and companies like volunteer stuff, and it just, every time I read about that, it makes me feel better, because I'm like, yeah, this guy gets nothing out of this. He's just going around, and he hugs perfect strangers and tells them he loves them, and they hug him back, and they say they love him back, and it's just like, yes, he's okay, the world doesn't suck. Yeah, that's Deb's reality. I mean, I think you have to search out the good sometimes. You know, the not good is easy to find. You know, it's right there in your face. But you have to go looking for the good, and you know, sometimes that means doing, you know, some random nice thing for, you know, a witchy friend, or, you know, somebody else who's feeling really down today. You know, and you know, just or yourself. You can do a random nice thing for yourself. You know, if for the people who are interested in spells and spellcrafting, I should probably mention this. I'm so bad at promoting myself. I don't know what to do. But I am actually giving an online class on the. Yeah, I know. I am giving an online class on the 18th on spells and spellcrafting. I do it through Zoom, so you get to see my pretty face. And if you go to my website, there should be a link there. I can't remember. I told my web person to update that link. But anyway, if you go to Instagram or Facebook, that's all over the place. And, you can come take a class with me, and, it's like an hour worth of class and 15 minutes of question and answer. And I've been doing a series of them, actually. People started asking me for a tarot class, so I did a tarot class, and that was really successful. So, I've done a few other ones. I just did one for Samhain, actually, because people were interested in that. But basically I did one on how to be an everyday witch, because that's my jam. So yes, this month's online class is spells and spellcrafting, and it's done, via Zoom, and it's recorded so that the people who can't make it at, 8 p.m. on a Monday in Eastern time can still, get a chance to go back and watch it later. And we have a lot of fun. It's actually, it's pretty cool. So, if anybody's interested in that after hearing us talk about the spells and the little book of Spellcraft, they should go check it out.
They should indeed. That's awesome.
And I should check my website. Make sure. I'm pretty sure I updated that, but I don't know. It's been a crazy month. So I have a web woman. I have somebody who does all of the stuff on my website for me, because that is not in my area of expertise. I can do some of my own plumbing, but I cannot do my own website. So I just message her and go, can you change this? Can you make this like the thing it's supposed to be? And then she does it, and it's like magic.
Well, that's cool.
So yeah, I also have a book coming out in January.
Yay.
Yes, another book from me, because you people don't have enough. I think that's book number 17, if you can believe it. And the one I just turned in is number 18. But yeah, so this is going to be a year and a day of everyday magic. It's a follow-up to my 365-day book, A Year and a Day of Everyday Witchcraft, which came out in, 2016 or 2017, and people loved it. But for the last few years, people have been saying, I really love the 365 book, but I've used it for a bunch of years, and I'd really like something that's got different stuff for each day. So I did it, and it's coming out in January from Llewellyn. It'll have to be a late Yule present.
Right. By the way, I think you're already booked for that.
Oh, yeah, I might be. I think, let me go look
January
at my...
30th.
Yep, I'm looking at my Post-it note. It says January 30th. It does.
Yes,
so,
it
yeah,
does.
we'll get to talk about that. That'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
It will be. It will be. I mean, by then, I'm sure we'll be in the mood for fun. Yeah, and more chocolate. But, yeah.
And
so
more chocolate.
More chocolate. Yeah, I have a theme. More cats, more chocolate, and a little bit of wine.
So let me ask you, are you doing, aside from your Zoom and your class, do you anticipate doing any traveling in the upcoming year? Are you going to be out?
I probably am not. I haven't been going to conventions the way I used to, in part because of COVID. I'm vulnerable, and therefore it's sort of iffy to be among giant crowds of people. Although I do miss the energy from that. I mean, I really love the vibe of being around my people. I really was looking at possibly going to Paganicon in Minnesota in March, because Minnesota in March sounds like a really good idea. But, it's supposed to be a really great con, and I just have sort of not got my shit together. However, it looks like I'm actually going to be starting a podcast of my own.
Yay!
Yeah, this is the first time I've actually mentioned it. There's a woman named Pam who runs Authors on Air, who has been bugging me for years to come do something, and I'm like, I'm too busy, I'm too tired, my brain doesn't work down. And she finally said, you only have to do it a couple times a month. It's only like half an hour. We do the like background stuff, so you don't have to do it. You just like show up and talk. And I'm like, huh. So I believe it is going to be called A Witch in the World. And I'm basically going to be talking about anything witchy, books, nonfiction and fiction, because I write both. But, also, I'm hoping to have, some of it will just be me talking about shit, like spells and stuff. And some of it will hopefully be interesting guests who have, books to talk about or things that they do or whatever, maybe some, like, psychics and stuff. So, theoretically, that's supposed to start in the middle of this month. But since we haven't even really, like, gotten any specifics ready, I don't know. But, yeah, and it is one of those things right now it's sort of hard to wrap my brain around adding one more thing to my existing, plate full of stuff. But, we'll see. I was actually inspired by you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
No, it's true. Well, I have such a good time talking to you. I thought, maybe people would have a good time coming to talk to me.
Of course. I love talking to you. And you always give great conversation, and I told you that. I think that's a wonderful idea. And and I say this all the time, I'm not just a podcaster, I'm also a fan. And I love listening to other people talk. It's a lot of fun.
Pam kept saying to me, I think, you have a good voice for a podcast, not necessarily my actual voice, but like the way I talk. Which I think is a really lovely way of saying that I babble with the best of them. I don't know. I can blither on about anything. But, she really was sort of adamant about this, and they have a whole bunch of authors who talk about a whole bunch of things, but she didn't have anybody witchy. So I'm like, we're an underserved community. I must remedy that.
Yes. I agree. Listen, there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of podcasts. It's not a pie. There's as I've said many times, I don't do interviews. I do conversations. There's so many
and that's what I would do.
Approaches. Yeah.
I just want to chat with people.
Yeah, you just want to hang out and have a good time and have a conversation and like I love a good love story, so sometimes I badger my guests into telling me about how they met or any number of things, It's not just sit there and tell me how you started in witchcraft and how old
tell me all about your
and
latest book. There was this one podcast I was on where the podcaster had a surprise question at the end, and she warned you at the end, before you started, that there was going to be a surprise question. But basically what she'd do is she would roll a die, like a Dungeons and Dragons die, and you would get a question from any number of different categories, all of which were things that nobody talks about, like politics or death or whatever they were. And, and you always had the choice to not answer the question or to, have her roll the die again or whatever. And what the heck? I was trying to remember the one I ended up doing was she was asking, it was a politics one, and the question was, do you believe that witches have like a social responsibility to be involved or whatever it was? And of course my answer was hell yes, because otherwise we're screwed. And look, we're screwed anyway, but that's okay. But I loved the fun aspect of this sort of random question. So I might, and like I have a friend, she doesn't do podcasts, she does blogs, and every once in a while she does an interview with somebody on her blog, and her final question is always, okay, you get to ask me any question you want to, which, I know. Isn't that fun? So I may do something like that, just say, okay, here's your choice. You either get to answer a random question or you get to ask me any question you want, or something fun. And I love the idea of rolling a die because of the randomness of it.
Wow.
See, now I've given you all sorts of fun ideas, haven't I?
You have. Wow.
It just, it puts a little extra spin on the end. It's just sort of cool.
Where do you think you'll be in 5 years?
That is a damn good question. Probably right where I am now, in my little house in the country with hopefully the same batch of cats, because they're all reasonably youngish. 4 of them are 7 and 1 of them is 5. I will possibly be partially retired from writing. I'm 64 now. I mean, it depends. If I still get ideas, I will still keep writing. We'll see how long the ideas hold out. For better or for worse, I don't, assuming that things have not completely blown up, I don't see myself as being in a much different space than I am now, in part because my life is pretty boring, which is okay. I'm a fan of boring. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. Maybe I will have finally put out the novel that hits big, and I will suddenly be a household name, and everybody will know who I am. It could happen.
Wow. Well, I don't know. I think in the witch community you already are a household name.
Well, which is wonderful, and I love being a household name in the witch community. I would sort of like to be a household name in, like, the every community, the bigger community. And I'd like to make more money, because I don't know if people realize this, but witchcraft authors don't make a ton of money. You'd think, oh, she's got 17 books out, she must make a ton of money. No, because what happens is the older ones, they stop selling very well because they've been out for a while. Then some of them go out of print, and witches as a whole do not tend to have a ton of money, bless them, because we tend to have a certain lifestyle which does not lend itself to millionaireness. Millionaireness. That's a word. I'm an author. If I tell you it's a word, it's a word.
It is now.
But yeah, there very, very few writers of witchcraft books are making a huge living off of doing it. We do it because we love it, and because we're driven to share our wisdom with everybody else and stuff like that.
Awesome,
or in my case, because I just love working with my Llewellyn editor so much that every once in a while I have to send her something.
Which is wonderful. Deborah Blake, I love you so much, and I so appreciate you. And this book, Llewellyn's Little Book of Spellcraft, is such a sweet book. Get it for yourself. Get it for someone else. It is the season of Yule. And
buy 2, they're small.
They are small. And get 2. Get one.
That's the thing they used to say all the time in sales. Buy 2, they're small. So I always like to say it about the witchcraft books.
Of course. And it's good to have one for yourself, and it's good to have one to share with a friend for the holiday season. But you are wonderful, and we will see you again in January for your upcoming book.
Well, and thank you so much for having me as a guest. I always love to come and chat with you.
I'm very excited about your new podcast. You're going to have to, let me know when it starts. So
yeah, as soon as I figure out what the heck I'm doing, I will let you know, and then you can let other people know, and we'll see if anybody shows up to listen to me. I have visions of talking to myself, and having one person listening on the other end. It's sort of scary.
No,
were you scared about that when you started?
No.
See, you're just so much braver than I am.
No, it's because I just didn't care. It's like I'm doing this for my own amusement. And if other people are amused by me, that was fine. And because I wasn't looking to entertain anybody but me at the time. and my co-host and I were very entertained by ourselves. We thought we were funny and we'd crack each other up, and for us that was fine. And then, other people would start coming on, and we were really, really, really lucky. And we had phenomenal people who came on, such as yourself, and it just kind of kept going from there. And, after a while, people just started listening, and, we never set out to be a big deal. We never set out to promote it like crazy. We never...
Right.
It wasn't about growing an audience. It was about having a good time. And that's where it's at today.
I will try and carry that attitude into mine. What I sort of am figuring is, if it works, that's terrific. If it doesn't work, I'll stop doing it and do something else. Thankfully is not, unlike the books, which there is sort of pressure for them to succeed, or nobody wants to buy another one from me. But this is just if I go out and talk to the universe and nobody listens, after a while I'll wander off and just talk to my cats like I usually do, or you. I'll wander off and talk to you.
Just don't put any undue pressure on yourself or anybody else. People will show up, and and sometimes they'll show up and you won't even know they're there, and then they'll come and tell you about it later. And I've had people come up to me and quote me years later, and I'm like, I said that? And they're like, oh, yeah, you said it back in 2015. You said blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I guess I was smarter then. I don't know. But,
yeah.
I mean,
well,
sure.
I guess we're going to find out.
It'll be great. Just have a good time. When it stops being fun, stop doing it. That's it.
Well, and that's sort of how I feel about the writing. If I, hit a point where, I'm not enjoying it anymore, I'll stop doing it. But thankfully, I haven't quite gotten there yet. And I do have this idea I'm playing around with for some future book, which, I really don't even know what will go in it. But I want to write the Cranky Crone's Book of Witchcraft.
I like it. I feel
like a cranky crone these days, and I feel like there's a market for that.
There is. Okay, well I'm looking forward to that book. But in the meantime, Deborah, thank you again so much for coming on. I'm looking forward to that Cranky Crone book, and we will see you again in January. Have a blessed Yule.
Thank you. You too.
All right, darling. Talk to you soon.
Bye.